And booyah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Keeping It Rio. It's episode 103. That's insane. And today I have an amazing guest that I've been wanting to have on Keeping It Rio for quite some time. I'd like to welcome Mr. Matt Collins to the program. Matt, how's it going, buddy? How you doing today?
Doing good, sir. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. I've been wanting to talk to you for quite a while. We kind of know each other not super well, but throughout the course of time and in the industry, you get to know the people that are quality and you see them in the same circles and you kind of start to, learn about them. And I think you're a pretty interesting guy. I think you've got a cool story and I got a podcast. So, the whole reason why I did it was so I could talk to people. And I appreciate you. It's Sunday morning when we're doing this. It's just a little bit before 10 a.m. my time here in San Antonio. Where are you coming at us from here in the world? And what time is it there? You in the same time zone as me?
I am. Yep. So I'm here in Central Arkansas, Conway, about 30 miles from Little Rock. So same time zone as you, not too far away. So yep, we're good.
I love it. So it's Sunday morning. We're up. We're chatting. I just got done telling you, this isn't scripted. There's nothing really crazy. So I kind of just follow a little bit of a conversational format. And if there's anything that we veer off on, whatever, dude, I make the rules. So we can do whatever. The first question, obviously, okay, Matt, you're in the industry with roofing. Tell us a little bit about your history in the industry, how you got started, and what you're doing in current times.
Sure. So I'm a third generation roofing contractor. Been doing this. This is all I've ever done. I've been doing it, full time for about 16, 17 years. And I currently own the company now. So just a family business that been doing for a long time. So it's just kind of bred into me, and this is what we do. So that's where I'm at.
I love it. So you service the Little Rock area and surrounding communities there. A lifelong business. Obviously, it's called Collins. And is it Son or Sons?
Son.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I can't. I should have thought about that earlier. But so you've kind of inherited the business. You're now the owner of it. How long have you been in that role with your business?
Since 2018, officially. I bought the company from Dad. So since 2018, I've been the owner. He's been out of it since then fully. So it's been all
your
me.
Dad doesn't have anything to do with the company at all. He doesn't come in. He doesn't stop by and say, hey, or run materials or anything. He just said,
no, sir. He's done.
Take it and grow, son. I love that. That's a cool way to do it because you've been there since the beginning. You saw the hard work that your dad put into the company to make it what it was. You earned your way into the ownership. It wasn't something that was just like, here, son, and I think there's a lot of value to that because I know there are a lot of people that, get it handed down to them and then don't really appreciate the value or even really understand it because they didn't get entrenched in it when they were growing up. So I think that's pretty cool. Let me ask this, since you've taken over from what your family business was, what changes have you made? I always think that's an interesting question because it's like, it was working good, but you've got visions that your dad probably didn't have. I know you personally, are a very personal development oriented kind of guy. So there's got to be some changes. What have you done to change and make your company even better than it was?
Sure. So I think one of the first changes, the big changes that we made is we incorporated a CRM. We wasn't using CRM before, so that made a big difference in our company. We also use Company Cam, and so we use a lot of different applications that we didn't use prior to, and that's helped with the growth that we've had.
Yeah, I think technology nowadays is insane. We use AccuLinks here with my company, and you can do everything on this. Like, you can order your materials, you can get your I'm not even going to say you can order measurements because Roofer is where I order my measurements from 100% of the time. But yes, you can do all that stuff with a CRM. You can keep control of, that information and track it a lot better for sure. And, since you've done that, have you seen a jump in revenue or has it just been productivity wise? What's been the biggest advantage to having, and what CRM do you use, if you don't mind me asking?
Sure. So we're currently using AccuLinks at the moment.
Nice.
And so that's where we're at. Yeah. So productivity definitely helped with that. Um, we had some pretty good storms last year, so we did pretty good last year from what we did previously. So we're we're on the right track. So
I love that. So, how many employees do you have at your company? What's your team look like? Sales team, production, office staff. What are you looking at?
Sure. So we're currently going through kind of a hiring phase right at the moment. We're looking at bringing on some new people. So we don't have just a whole lot of people right at this time. Got a guy in production, got an office manager, and myself doing most of the sales. And then obviously our crews. So we got good crews out there. So we're doing quite a bit. So
Yep, I love that, and it's very well developed. I know for a fact that you work with the number one consultant in the industry, which is Mike Code, and Mike is
right.
my number one as well. And this is kind of funny. I didn't really want to mention Mike yet, but I have a story, and I want to share this with everybody because this is really the reason why you're here on Keeping It Rio today, Matt. Because it's kind of funny. It goes back a few years, but I remember back in, I guess it was like 2020. We were at the IRE in Dallas, Texas at the whatever the event center is there, right? And I was
Right.
there with Mike Code that day. Mike, I had just gotten with Rio Blanco and we had just started the business and kind of were, growing. My partners from East Texas were meeting me down there, but I was there with Mike at that moment and we were just walking through and getting free samples of stuff and making jokes and having a good time. And all of a sudden, here comes this dude, right? And he's like, "Hey, excuse me, Chuck." And I don't, I'm just a guy, right? Mike Code always tells me that more people see what you're doing than you'll ever realize. And I don't think anything of that because I see myself and, it's like, whatever. I'm just a dude. I'm in the mirror and I'm looking like, whatever. If anybody recognizes me, I feel sorry for you because you're probably doing something that's time wasting when you could be producing. But it was you, Matt Collins, came up to me at the IRE and introduced yourself and said, "You know what? I've been following you a little bit, watching your videos." And I looked at Mike Code. Number one, this is going to be like a humble brag for a second because you did just have Mike at your office this past week. I was actually pretty amazed by the fact that you recognized me before you recognized Mike and you came over to me. I thought that was pretty amazing. So that was the biggest thing that came from that. And I told Mike Code that day, I will never forget this dude, Matt Collins, because that was one of the coolest freaking things that's ever happened in my professional career, And it was funny
Awesome.
because you came in at a perfect moment because literally just maybe like a minute earlier, Dmitry Lipinski actually said something, which I don't think he meant to sound the way it did. And I love this dude, but he was like, "Boy, you're a lot bigger in real life than I thought you would be." And it was because I was all fat, and it was like, man, I felt like a piece of crap. And then I walked down there and here comes this guy and he's like, "I see you and you're doing good." So you were the highlight of my IRE that year. And I appreciate that. And like I said, since then we've kind of interacted in other things. I know you came to the conference that we did in East Texas, like 2 years ago, I guess, or last year.
Around,
COVID was weird. It messed everything up. But yeah, that stuff. And what I'm getting at with that is, you're a very self-development, personal growth kind of guy. What kind of stuff do you do like on a daily basis, a regular basis sorry, my watch just heard me talking there. To be better today than you were yesterday. What are some of the things that you like to do? I know you've posted pictures of yourself, physical fitness stuff. You go to a lot of different events and follow a lot of things. So what are some of the key things that you like to do personally that help you to be, the best version of yourself that you can be on any given day and then to be better than that dude tomorrow, if that makes sense?
Sure. Yeah. So obviously got a lot of improvement to do still. Always working on myself. Personal development is very, very big for me. Even though I'm kind of falling off the wagon here lately, I'm trying.
This is an accountability check right here, then, because I'm gonna put this out to. I don't want to scare you, but millions and millions of people. I don't know how many people are in the world, but they can all see this at some point. So yeah, accountability, right? Kind of inadvertent accountability.
Yeah, for sure. No, I need that. So in 2021, I completed 75 hard, and so that kind of got me on more of a fitness and self-awareness journey about where I was and where I am. Did really good with that. Like I said, here recently, we've kind of fallen off the wagon. You know, we've had child number 7 in December. So
Matt, you have 7 kids? Damn,
yes, sir.
I was gonna ask that question, but that's amazing right there. So you're really making it like, all right, the roofing company is going to be on for a few generations now. You're
Right.
putting your sales team together for 20 years down the road. I love it.
Right. So yeah, that's kind of threw us in a tailspin here for a little while with everything that's going on. But yeah, just reading books. Try to do my walks and get that in. Just going to conferences. Being a part of different different training platforms, and learning from different people. You can never learn too much, and I'm always trying to learn and trying to do better. I know my office manager, which is my sister, but she's always talking about, like, you're always coming in and talking about how can we do this differently and how can you do this, and like, it's just, I don't want it to stay the same. We need to grow, and if there's something better, we need to do it. So I think that's a good thing to do. So.
Yeah, me too. And I'm a huge, personal growth guy. I always tell people, if you want to come work at my company, it's not a roofing company. We do roofs, but it's a personal development, a growth company. I want to help you feel like you're better than you feel you are now. I want to teach you some skills that you can go out and, do something with. And the biggest point of pride I have with my business right now at Rio Blanco is I'm kind of in the same boat. I've got a small team right now because my main guy, he just started his own business a couple months ago, went out absolutely doing amazing. A couple of my sales guys have gone and started their own roofing company in the last couple of months. And, some of my guys have just not worked out. But I think the greatest sense of pride for me is when I say, okay, my team is shrunken because my main guys went out and started their own companies. I know they're doing right. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's why I started my business, because I wanted to provide that opportunity for people to see what our industry is about, number one, to see the potential that there is for it, which I don't think any of us even understand the full potential yet for what we do. But it's to just, give back as well, to teach people the things that I've learned over the 20 plus years of my career. And when you're bringing people into your team, is that the mindset you have, or what are you looking for specifically when you're, you just said you're getting ready to do a hiring campaign. So what would Matt Collins' ideal sales rep or whatever you're looking for, what would that look like? And I know you probably just did this exercise. So I'm kind of a little bit in tune with what's going on in the world. And I figure this is probably a cool thing to talk about because everybody's a little bit different. And I just wonder, your market in Arkansas, number one, are you more retail or insurance work?
So we've generally done about 50-50. This year, last year, because of the hailstorms that we had, it was more like 90-10 probably insurance. So
okay. So here's go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. We still do a lot of retail. Generally when the storms die down, we'll go back to retail. Obviously, some. So it's just kind of.
I like that. So let me ask you this. Okay, when you get into a storm market and you're signing deals, your thoughts. Okay, and this is one of those controversial questions that I bring out there that some people don't agree or whatever, but my personal take is this, okay? And mind you, when I say I've been in this industry for 25 years, I've sold insurance work, I've run a distribution center, I've been a truck driver, I did ground drops, and I did rooftop deliveries for years. I think retail requires skill, where I don't believe that insurance work requires nearly as much skill. So let me ask you this: when you bring in some people and you got hit with a big storm last year and you're going to go 90-10 insurance to retail. When you start looking at these people that you're going to bring in, do you look at them as, okay, I don't need to have a lot of skill because I can teach you how to do insurance. And then if you're going to work, we can maybe develop you down the road. Do you look for people who are already polished, or what's your, I I guess avatar is the word they're looking for, right? For someone that you bring into your team in a situation like that, do you look for the short term, or are you looking always to hire someone with the hopes that they stick around for 20 years?
Yeah, so the long-term goal is always in mind, obviously. Hiring someone that's going to be a part of the company, and that, it's going to be a team player, and it's going to, be a sales is a vital role in the company. But you got to be a team player as well, because a lot of sales guys tend to not be team players, right? And so
You don't say.
that's a big thing. And so, I'm always looking for someone that's going to be around for a long time, but also that we can train and guide in the right direction as far as retail goes. I'm not looking for people that's got a lot of experience in roofing. I feel that, generally I'm hiring people that I can train. As long as you're trainable, I can teach you to do anything that needs to be done, and I can teach you how to do it. But if you're not trainable, that don't work. So if you're already have a way, you already got it down and know how to do it, and it don't line up with what we do, that's a problem. And so generally, when you can train someone that doesn't have that experience, it seems to be best. So that's
I agree with you 100% on that. That's what I look for too. I very rarely do I bring people from the industry in, and it's for that same reason. I feel, quite honestly, and I'm sure you feel the same way about your company. I feel like I'm the best trainer in the world. Like, as roofing sales training, I personally feel like I am the best, right? Like, other people are going to say you're ridiculous for saying that, but if you don't think you're the best, then why are you trying to do something, right? And I
Sure.
tell my people, okay, I'll put in the same amount of effort to you that you put into me, and that's 100% all the way down to 0. And I've had people that have come in that start off on fire, and then you start to see, they start to become lead babies a little bit, or hanging around a little bit more, wondering more about what we're doing for lunch, or we going to Top Golf today, or whatever, and not worrying so much about getting deals done. And at my biggest problem, because I'm a soft-hearted guy, and this is what I'm getting at with you too, because I feel like you are, but you did mention that you've got a sister that's working in your company, so this probably does help. You ever have people that you really are you like them, you think they're good people, you see that they're not gonna probably be successful as you'd like them to be, or as they'd like to be, and you let them hang around a little bit too long? Have you ever had anybody in your company that you've done that with?
Yes. So that's generally where I fall short.
That I figure you and I are very similar, right? So tell me about that. Okay, you get some people in there, and it's the hardest part of this job, but it's also the easiest in some situations to fire people. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I have fired a lot of people without even moving my facial expression, because they've deserved it. But then there
Mhm.
are people that you meet, and you've got a soft spot for them, and whatever it is, but they stick on too long, and it becomes kind of a bad deal. And do you see the results then start to affect everybody else in your business? And at what point do you have to finally just say, look,
Enough.
and how do you go about doing that? 10-part question.
Sure. Yeah. So, where do I start? So yeah, these I've had a few guys like that. More recently, I had one that he was here for, I don't know, a couple years, and um, man, I should have cut him loose, honestly, quite a bit sooner than I did. And he finally come to me, and it was just like, to him it wasn't working out, and I knew it long before that. And finally he come to that realization and decided to leave. And then we had that big storm that hit, and we got back in contact, and out of the goodness of my heart, I brought the guy back, right? And so that was huge. Like, should not have done that for sure. And so then when he came back, he didn't bring nothing back but negativity, and it was bad. And so it didn't last very long, and then obviously he's gone again. And so I'm learning from that. Generally have not, if you work here, like, and it don't work out, you're probably not coming back. But I've I've did it different a couple times, and whenever I did, when I broke that rule, it never works out good. So yeah, when you see it ain't going to work, you gotta move on, and you gotta get past it. Really
Yeah,
got to
for sure.
keep your.
Because yeah, you bring one of those guys in and you're thinking, okay, well, he's got the experience. So this is someone I can just plug in. And you don't really take into account, okay, the other people in the organization are looking at that and they're thinking a couple things. Number one, this dude didn't want to be here before. So, like, screw him, right? Because he wants to be back now that there's a storm. And I think
Mhm.
there's a lot of contempt and animosity inside the team that people don't really think about in that moment as owners. You know what I mean? I would
Sure.
not think about it in that term, but then after the fact, you think, oh man, like that short term gain really kind of messed up everything long term for you. And like you said, once it's over, it's pretty much over in business for me. I've always been that guy. Like in my company, I tell everybody there's no such thing as a 2 week notice because most of my sales guys are 1099 anyway. What are you going to do for 2 weeks besides, whatever, take information or take shit or do something? I don't know. There's nothing really a 2 week notice can do. And I'm also the guy that says this once you fall out of love with it, and you decide at that point. Now, I'm not saying falling out of love because I'm sure you're like me. You've probably wanted to quit this industry 1,000 times in your life. It's probably driven you to the point where you're in tears, thinking, what the heck's wrong with me? But it brings you back in. But I've always felt like if you get to the point where you decided that's it, and you make that public, that there's really no going back. You can never get back the passion that you admittedly don't have anymore. And I've
Right.
always found that bringing people back is a huge mistake. And I was an example of that at my previous company where I quit and I came back and I was not anywhere near what I was before I quit because I just didn't have the same passion. So I think that's cool. And I think when you've got teams and you're trying to build them, it's very crucial to look at those components and say, okay, is it going to be worth the short term gain? Maybe in some cases it is if you know what it's going to be and you can admit it and get everybody on board. But it is what it is, right?
Yes, sir.
So, okay, you
Yeah.
get rid of the bad, you're bringing in some good people. When we started talking a little bit about your ideal sales rep. So, let's get back to that. What when someone walks in your door and they say, "Hey, Mr. Collins, I'm here because I looked you up online or I heard you were hiring." What are you looking for right off the bat that's going to say, "You know what? This is someone that might be worth my time," or certain things that you look at and say, "No, hit the bricks. I don't have time for you today."
So when I see someone, I'm looking through the eyes of my customer, and I want to make sure that person is going to represent my company well. And so when I do an interview, I look them dead in the eye, and if they sit there and look at the wall, like I know it's a no go because they're not going to talk to the customer. They're not going to deal with the customer the way they should if they're not going to look at me. And so um, that's one thing I look at for sure. This just their body language and how they interact with me. That's going to be the same way they're going to interact with customers. And so I'm looking for someone that's going to, um, you know, handle their self properly and take care of our customers because this is a long term game. I mean, we've been in business for a long time, and I don't plan on it dying out with me. And so we're looking at long term uh, growth here. And so when these people come in, like I want to make sure they're going to take care of our customer, that they're presenting themselves well, because that's what the customer's looking at. That's what they see when they roll out of the truck and head up to the door. When they talk to them at the door, like that's the first things they see. And if you don't present yourself well there, like you're done. And so that's what I'm looking for.
Yep, I agree. Professional is, I mean, that's the number one thing. You can't really train that, but then everything else you can teach. Like you said, I'll show you how to sell roofs. That's that's not even important, honestly. The thing that most people that I try to hire are the most intimidated by is I don't know anything about roofing. I don't know about roofing products. And you and I are completely opposite in that, okay, we've both been in this most of our life. I'm 44 and I've been doing it for 25 years. I started as a truck driver doing ground drops, and then I did roof loads with a conveyor truck for 12 years. And then I went and started a roofing supply company off of that out of, Charlotte, North Carolina from scratch. And then I ended up in Texas, and it's been a weird path. But the moral of the story is I've never installed a roof before in my life physically. Right. And there's a huge divide in the industry amongst people who think you have to be able to do that to be a true legit roofer, or whatever. You do have that background. Obviously, you've been up there, you've swung hammers, and you grew up through that side of the business. What's your take on that? Do you think that it's beneficial? Do you think it makes no difference? Do you think in some cases it may even be a disadvantage to go in and say, hey, you know what, I've been in this trade, I've actually physically put these roofs together, nobody knows it better than me? What do you think?
Yeah, so I started out roofing with a hatchet. Before we started using nail guns, I've roofed many houses with a hatchet. So I've been there. Um, I think for me, a lot of times when I go out and I'm talking with my crews, the best thing I like to do, honestly, still, like every once in a while, I'll show up and I'll get up on the roof and I'll grab a nail gun and I'll just start roofing. And like my guys, they just step back and they just can't believe it. And so that's something that they know when I come in and I say, nope, that's not right. We got to do that differently. That won't work. They know I know what I'm talking about because I know how to do it. And so I think for me, that's something that is beneficial. Now, process, obviously, someone that doesn't have that background, just having the processes down and knowing that you're going to be able to get that quality by who you hire, having someone do a quality control check or however that may be, and knowing that your crews are well trained. I think it can be done both ways, obviously. But for me, it's been beneficial because my crews know where I'm coming from. They know my background. They know what I'm talking about. And so it's hard for them to say, no, we can't do it that way. That's not the way it's supposed to be done, because I can show them. I can sit there and show them that, well, we can do it this way because, let me show you.
Because that's what I said it needs to be. And I respect that answer so much, because that's one of those things, when I go out to my jobs, I think, as a company, and I'm sure you would agree, the most important people we have are our crews. I think the crews are the ones that get the least amount of respect in our industry across the board, from owners, from suppliers, from customers, from everybody. But you and I both realize, what, without those guys, I mean, you could still get up there and do it. You're still pretty young. You're still, ready to rock and roll, but you don't want to do it. You've graduated beyond that. I tell my customers, look, if it's not for my crew, if you see me up on the roof with a hatchet or a nail gun, we're screwed. Like, there's a big problem, like I can see it. I've been watching it for 25 years and I've been certified by every manufacturer. I've been to every training. I've done field application, but there is a little bit more credibility from a guy like you that, I've earned the respect from my crews over the years because I've gotten really, really skilled with everything. But I can see that. And I think your homeowners probably look at that and say the same thing, right? Well, man, Mr. Collins literally is up there nailing shingles on the roof for me. That's a huge deal. That's something that probably, if you could get your customers to give you a 5-star review saying, the owner of the company came in and just started doing it, that's organic marketing at its finest, right?
Right. Now, don't get me wrong. That don't happen too often. Now, not anymore, but
just to say that you do it, right? Like with me, I go out there and I bought my guys a ladder vader, right? Because in Texas, in some places you can't do roof loads. So they don't care. My guys they've lived here in Texas for their whole lives, and they carry them up ladders because that's just what it was. I bought him a ladder vader, and we were doing, I remember we did an apartment complex. It was 315 squares. And I told my crew, I had 35 guys on this job. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to load all these roofs by hand. 945 bundles of shingles. I'm going to do every damn one of them. And you guys are going to go up there and catch them because you're doing the work. And I want y'all to know that this is who I am, right? I buy you lunch. I bring you Gatorades, but I'm not a sales guy. I've been in this, when I tell my crews, I've probably handled more bundles of shingles than everybody in your family will over the course of their entire life. It's true, but they don't know you as that, right? So I hand loaded this entire apartment complex. And at the end of that job, I had 35 guys line up and shake my hand. And from that point, Matt, I mean, those guys, they'll do anything, right? They'll travel. They will make sure that everything's 100% on point. They go way out of their way to make sure they take care of me because they know this dude's not taking this for granted. You know, he doesn't understand how to get up and do the, I understand how to, but I'm just not skilled, you know, but
Sure.
he's helping us in some way. And I think that respect is what really separates us from some of the other owners in the industry because not all of them think that way. And not all of them really care. A lot of them look at the crews as being a dime a dozen. And to
Yes.
me, that's where you really build your reputation. You've probably had the same guys for a long time. They're
Yes.
loyal. You know what I mean?
I've got
That's
one
pretty
crew.
stellar.
I got one crew that's been with me for 14 years.
Right. And that's another thing, you know, the reason why we do this is, you know, when your dad had the company, he hired this crew and his vision at that point was probably I'm going to provide you guys an opportunity to make a solid living here to build a, you know, a business for your family to support. I'm sure your crew is probably like mine. You know, I've got a brother-in-law, a son, a wife. I've got like two cousins, and you know, there's 8 guys, and they're all related to each other, you know, through blood. And that to me is the coolest part about our industry, especially when you've got companies that are, you know, like ours. Our companies are, you know, we're not huge. I'm not one of the bigger roofing companies in the world by any means. I'm, you know, one of the smaller ones. But I think that that family atmosphere and I think being able to, you know, interact with your crews like that, that's what really I think is the best part about this. And I think I'd rather have that than have a huge organization and not know all the people in it. You know what I mean? Do you agree? Do you think that being a family type deal is, you know, is that what you're looking to maintain with your company? Are you looking to grow your company to be $100 million organization at some point?
I've not got that far out. Okay. So, yeah, maintaining that company atmosphere, or family atmosphere within our company for sure, you know, and I'm a hands-on guy. So I like going to job sites and talking with the customers and talking with the crews and, you know, just being around. And so that, that makes a difference too, you know, and so for sure having that family atmosphere. Like I was saying about the one crew that I got, like he's the crew lead. His son is he was like 2 or 3 when he started working with me, and now his son is working every day with us on the jobs, and it's it's crazy because he's been around long enough that now he's a part of it, you know, and his dad is there too. So there's 3 generations of them actually working with us. So on that crew. So it's yeah, it's pretty cool. And it is a family atmosphere because they're family, right? And so we're all family. And that's the way I like to look at it. Like our crews is a part of our work family here. You know, we're all in this together. You know, team
Yeah,
players.
and they're putting their best foot forward because, you know, they want you to be successful because you're providing that for them. And that's the coolest story ever because I've got a crew like that too. You know, the little boy was like 7, 8 years old when they started, and now he's running the entire crew. And it's like, you know, I watched this little guy from that age grow up, and you see the little kids out there, and people laugh, and they're like, you know, well, how old is that kid? Well, he's legitimately like 12, and he's out there picking up nails in the flower beds and so on. And then you see him when he turns 16 or 17, they let him go up here, and he's nailing a shed, you know, and he's over there taking his time and making it all perfect. And you know, they roofed the 60 square house in the same time it took him to do the 2 square shed, but
Right?
sense of pride, you know, and you know that every nail's perfect on it, you know, it's perfectly straight. And then you see him going over and, you know, just like you say, developing that. And I think that's the beauty of what we have as well, is we still teach a skill and it's not going to go away, you know, until we don't need roofs over our head. We're going to be all right. And I think that's going to maintain at least through our lives. So it's pretty amazing. I'm going to kind of jump back a little bit. We were talking about personal development and all that. And I know you worked with Mike Code this past week. Mike's been a key guy for me in my career since the very beginning. When I almost quit the industry, like I watched a video of Mike, and he and one other guy literally are the reason why I stayed in it. So I've got a lot of affinity for him, and I've gotten to travel with Mike and go to some of his clients around the country and meet their teams and stuff. I don't know the right way to say this because it's kind of a weird, but like the value that you're getting from having Mike Code come to your office. Can you explain what you see, as everything as the entire picture changes? What's your take on that? How has that helped you in various ways with your business? I'm trying to understand the best way to word that question, but do you know what I mean?
Sure. So, just having someone come in and be here, it shows a little bit more, uh, maybe what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, Shows a little more dedication on their part, right? To come into our office and actually be a part of our company, uh, and help with the things that we're working on. Obviously, we've only been through the quantum success, and now we've started with the next tier there. And so just having him here, having that guidance and help, like it's been good for me. I need someone to help hold me accountable, as well as someone to help with guidance. Like I don't know everything, right? And I know that, and I'm smart enough. I'm smart enough to know that I don't know everything, and I need help. And so, um, yeah, it's been beneficial. I think people in the company seeing you bring someone in, and someone coming into the office, it shows that we do care about what we're doing, and we're um, definitely trying to move forward and not just be stagnant. We're actually taking some action. So yeah, it's good. I like it.
I love it. Yeah, the energy's
I don't know if that's
good.
what you're looking for,
That's exactly what I was looking for, right? The energy that your entire team feels from bringing in somebody like that. And, that's exactly what the question was. I mean, that's the answer I was looking for. You want
but
to, show that you're committed, you're willing to invest in your team because that means something to them. They see the bigger picture. And one thing that Mike always teaches is, the prize is not always monetary. Sometimes it's got nothing to do with a paycheck. And you can get people to come in simply by saying, hey, you know what? I bring in the top consultant in the roofing industry to do training with my team. If you come in, you can be a part of that. And, the right people, those are the ones that are going to come in for that reason, rather than the fact that you can make 150,000 a year or, travel the country and make all kinds of friends. And I think you can utilize that in many different ways throughout your entire organization, even onboarding and hiring new people, right?
for sure. Yes, sir.
Yep. So let me ask you this. You said conferences. I know you like to go and do some of the roofing conferences. Um, what is your absolute favorite roofing conference that you've been to? And then also know, Matt, I'm about to ask you at the end of this answer, what's your least favorite one you've ever been to? So I'll give
Oh,
you a little bit of time to prepare for that answer while you're telling me what was your favorite conference that you've ever been to and why.
yeah. So, oh, well, the IREs, I've been to quite a few of them, uh, and been to some of the training that they have, and the conferences that they have within the, not just the expo. Um, so I've enjoyed them. I can't really say that. I don't know if I can say it's my favorite, but um, I haven't been to like the roofing process and the some of the others that are out there, that I want to maybe start going to some of them. Um, so I haven't been to a whole lot, other than the IRE, that I can think of.
I think
Uh,
IRE honestly is the most informative of them. My
mhm.
personal favorite one is Lee Hates conference because he has cage fighting the night before the conference, and I think that's just the coolest thing. There was a bunch of UFC legends and stuff there, and that he fought the best damn roofer. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not, but they had a cage fight at the event there. So that in itself made that the coolest event that I've ever been to. When I go to them though, I don't really ever. I, it's weird to say this. A lot of people go to these conferences, and I always come back and it's like, well, what did you learn? And the truth is, the last maybe 8, 10 of them I've been to, I haven't really learned anything. It's been more about networking with people. And, I've learned more going out to dinner with a group of people I met in the lobby of an event than I've met at, or that I've seen at the event, So at some point,
Sure.
I think it becomes maybe not counterproductive because you're still getting to make those relationships. But what do you think? Do you think that you can do too many of them? Do you think that, there are specific ones that, and I'm not trying to be controversial with that question, but specific ones that you look at and you're like, I don't need to do that. And you certainly don't need to name them.
Sure.
But any
Yeah.
any
So
any that you look at and you're just like, man, there's too many of these things.
I think you can do too many for sure. It just kind of over cloudies your vision. What you're doing. It can definitely be too much. And so I feel that is correct. However, I am looking forward. Maybe this is a plug, but I'm looking forward to the East Texas Growth Conference coming up. So
You're a smart man because you knew exactly where I was leading our conversation, Matt. You're a natural, dude.
yeah,
You're a natural. So yeah, you're going to be attending the East Texas Growth Conference. You see up here on the top right corner in association with K Socialized Media, who's putting on the event. Tell me your thoughts on that. That's coming up here, I think, on the 23rd, which is about 11 days from now. Your podcast episode's coming out that week. So this is going to be like the promo for this event. What are you looking forward to at this? And, what number one, what led you to say, hey, I'm going to purchase a ticket. I'm going to go down to East Texas and see this one day event. And what are you hoping to take back with you?
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to it. Mr. Code was gracious enough to get me in there. So he's actually the one that got the ticket for me.
Nice.
But yeah, just looking forward to that for sure. Was already considering going and getting a ticket before he had talked to me about it. So just looking forward and growing and obviously growth conference, right? So looking forward in that and getting some more knowledge and yeah, trying to grow our company. It's there's always room for improvement. And I always want to look at everything that way. There's always room for improvement.
Yep, there always is. No matter what, you can be just a little bit better tomorrow than you were today, and life will be awesome at the end. So, here's my on the spot of the speakers that we've got there at the event. Which one are you looking forward to the most? And I'm not going to ask you which one you're looking forward to the least because that'd be a ridiculous question. Everybody's amazing. They're all personal friends. The only person there that I don't know personally is Heather Hitchcock. And I'm looking forward to meeting her because she's doing some pretty cool stuff right now in Houston. So, which one of those? Obviously, Mike is a key guy. I guess let's take Mike out of the equation. Of the other speakers, which ones do you think, which one do you think is going to provide you personally the most value to take back with your team?
I'm honestly don't even know what the lineup is. And sorry.
No, that's okay. You bought it because you just knew it was going to be value. So I think it's going to be the owners of ASAP Roofing, which is Clint Koppel, Leanne Koppel. Heather Hitchcock is one. A gentleman named Johnny Ortiz, who I'm not familiar with, is an East Texas businessman. And then obviously Mike. So I was thinking, probably for you, it'd probably be Leanne or Clint because they're associated in the industry.
Sure.
But if you're going there, okay, obviously you're saying, okay, I've got an itinerary. I'm going from Arkansas to Texas to this event. What one specific piece of information are you trying to find? If that makes sense to you, sometimes you just go to an event and you find the information, it just flows to you. What one thing are you hoping to find that can make you better in the coming year or from the day after this event moving forward? Damn, I'm on it today with my questions. I like this. This is a good question.
You are. You are. So, man, specific. I don't know if I can be that specific about it. Honestly, I haven't put that much thought into the gold nugget that I'm looking for. Honestly, I'm going fishing. And I'm just casting and catching whatever jumps on the hook, right? So
yep, that's a great answer because the truth of the matter is there's not a wrong answer to that. And it's like, a lot of people go there looking for, the systems in my company are busted. I need some help with that. Some people, Melissa Money Mullins is another one of the speakers. She's the accounts receivable manager at ASAP Roofing. And she's going to talk about that stuff. That's something I need to learn about. So I'm going to sit through hers. But, I'm like you. I go to it and it's like something cool is going to happen. I know that. I'm going to find out something that's going to be different from what I thought before. And I'm going to go back and implement that. And we're going to make it work. So let's say we go to the conference. Everything's cool. You learn a whole bunch of cool stuff. You go home, you implement it. In a perfect scenario, what does Collins and Son Roofing look like 5 years down the road?
5 years down the road. Wow.
That's a good one, right? I mean, Sunday mornings are for good questions. I had a magician on yesterday that was melting spoons, so it's like, this is unique.
Yeah, for sure. No, so 5 years down the road, Matt Collins would love to not be wearing so many hats. Okay, so I wear many hats within the company still, and so 5 years down the road, I'd like to have the right people in the right place.
I like it.
More systems and processes created, and more people fulfilling them roles. Yep. 5 years.
So you're looking, kind of still you're going to stay in roofing your whole life. You're like me, no matter how many times I try to get out of it, it's like, no, dude, like, what else could I do at this point? I could go sell cars or something, but that didn't even seem fun at this stage of life. You're going to be in the roofing for the duration. And, I think that's kind of cool because a lot of people, they build a company and then they just look at the end saying, hey, I'm just going to sell this thing. Are you looking to pass yours on through the generations and continue it, with your children, or, maybe not even your kids? I don't know. Maybe your kids have no interest in roofing. But what are you looking at with that? Do you think that that's something that's obviously that's probably a dream that you're looking at, but what do you think realistically 20 years down the road then? Is it being run by your children?
Yeah, so passing it on to another generation was definitely something that I would love to see happen. And building things out now to get there is very important to me. So yeah, for sure, passing it on, because I'm not looking at really. I mean, in reality, I've thought about selling right from time to time.
But we all do, right?
It's just how it is. But long term, would love to pass it on to the next generation, and see this company grow even more. Yeah, that's what I would like, for sure.
I love it. That's the best plan to have, I think, and it gives you your motivation every day to get up and to continue to develop, to continue to look for the right people, to continue to stay in the game and make sure that your company's functioning the way it needs to, because, you don't want your kids to inherit a giant mess, and you want to make sure that there's something there that they can continue to maybe pass on down the road. And maybe, 100 years from now, Collins and great grandson are out there roofing houses that you guys are doing today. You know what I mean? That would be awesome. Yes. And I appreciate you taking the time. Like I said, this is a Sunday morning, so that's very valuable. And I appreciate you, Matt, because you put a lot of effort into your personal growth and your development. Mike told me that you're nervous to be on Keepin It Rio. I'll be honest, dude, this is nothing more than a Zoom call, and that's all it is. There's never anything to be nervous about. I think you're an absolute natural. I've had a great time. It's been almost an hour that we've been talking so far. So we'll start to kind of wind down a little bit here in the next 5-10 minutes. We'll just kind of, wrap it up a little bit. I guess one of the last questions that I like to do is kind of like a little rapid fire thing. And this is going to be basically your entire career. There's not a wrong answer, but everybody's got at least one. Okay. Number one, what is your favorite project that you've ever done in your entire career? And why is that your favorite project?
Favorite project. Oh, favorite project.
That's a tough question because there's a lot of them, right? But everybody's got one favorite. Everybody's got one.
Yeah, I think we're over what 9,000 deep now. So, um,
You got to be
oh,
special to be number one in Matt's book.
favorite project. Um, man,
Here's the key. You've done too many
yeah,
projects to have a favorite now. So that's a good thing. We'll skip that question because, it's like out of 9,000, how do I pick number one? I figured it was going to be grandma or something like that, or, some kind of cool story. But now here's one that you cannot escape, Matt.
I got you.
What's your least favorite job you've ever done in your career? What's the worst one, the worst customer, the worst project, the
Mm.
one where you're like, you know what? If I could go back, I would just say absolutely no way, and my life would have been so much better.
Oh,
Right? I got some of those too. One day I'm going to write a book on mine.
there you go. There you go. Uh, you know, I think there's this project that we we started off on the right foot, but then the customer was just they wasn't going to be happy with anything, and we still continued to move forward with them, and it turned out exactly like I had thought. They was not going to be happy with anything, and so they just continued to not be happy, even though we finished the project, everything was good, um, done it all right. They just wasn't happy, and from start to finish, and everything was great. Like there was no problems, but it was a problem with the customer, right? And so that was a nightmare. Also, it was a challenge getting paid once we got done. You get customers like that. That's tough, and we have great customers, so I can't talk bad about. I can't say anything about my customers.
No,
Uh,
but there's always one, and you
but
got
there's
the
always
one.
one.
There's always one. I've only had one really, really, really bad review ever in my entire career, and I could go to her house right now. It's got a beautiful, brand new, upgraded roof. It's got everything on it that was way better than what she had before.
Sure.
The gutters that I didn't even do anything with were the problem, and I didn't even do the gutters. So I can appreciate that. And the fact is, you know what? You can't please everybody. I think though, being able to say that out of 9,000 customers, you were only able to really come up with one, that speaks volumes for your customer service. It speaks volumes for the fact that you qualify your customers very well and you don't put yourself in those bad positions. So, to end keeping it real, I want to get your advice on this because when I hire new people, I bring them into the industry. We get insurance claims or whatnot that have 15 different trades on them. And my company says Rio Blanco Roofing and Restoration. I get it. But, it doesn't say roofing and stucco or roofing and, children's playground equipment or roofing and whatever. What do you tell your people, as far as, hey, look, here's red flags to look out for. This could be a job or a customer that could get us in trouble. And I demand that you do not work with them. Have you had anybody that's tried to push the envelope?
So yes, yes. However, we're not roofing and restoration, so we're roofing only. And more recently, in the last year, like we don't even do gutters anymore. And so we just have a good referral partner, and so we refer anything that's on the scope that we don't do. We refer out, and we do our best to refer obviously good quality people. But we exclude everything that's non-roofing items. Like if it's non-roofing items, we exclude it in the contract, and we move forward with roofing projects only. So
Thank you. I hope every roofing salesman in the United States that's new in the industry that sees all these dollars for window screens and vinyl beads and things like that, I hope they listen to what you just said. Most of them don't because it's money in their eyes and they don't realize all the stuff you have to go through. But how good is it to say, Collins Roofing, that's all I do. I'll do your roof. I will do the best roof you could possibly get. I'm not in the business of dealing with that stuff. I'm actually incredibly envious now of you because it's hard, it really is. I had to wait for
yeah,
almost 2 months to get an insurance check over 12 feet of gutters, and
yes,
it's like, man, I don't even do gutters, and that's a bad thing. So,
Yeah, so that's what we tell our customers. We tell them, look, we specialize in roofing. We don't specialize in gutters and siding and window screens and sheetrock and the other stuff. Like, we specialize in roofing. So let us do the roofing work for you. We're special. That's our specialty. Let us do that. We'll take care of that top of the line for you. You won't have to worry about it. And then you get somebody that specializes in these other trades to do that, so you can get top of the line there. And that's just the best way to do it. So you can deal directly with whoever that is, and you can get exactly what you want, how you want it, and we're going to do what we specialize in.
I love it. So, okay, real quick then, one question as it pertains to doing an insurance claim like that.
Mm-hmm.
You tell your homeowner, okay, we're going to do it for the insurance proceeds as it is. Any supplements and stuff will be, approved and will come to us as well. When you tell them I'm not doing any of these other trades, do you change the way you collect on it at all, or do you still go through that entire process with depreciation and all that for them? How's your process look there? Is it any simpler knowing that I'm not messing with all these ancillary deals and I should get paid quicker because of it?
Yeah, so we collect the same as we would on a retail job. Really, we collect the ACV and the deductible up front. Then the final amount is collected once the job is completed, and we submit all the documents to the insurance company, with the exclusions of the items that we didn't do. And so there's a couple different ways that we do it. Some jobs, if it's just a couple line items, then I'll go ahead and put the total RCV in the invoice, and then just subtract the items that we're not doing, in AccuLinks. So we just subtract the items that we're not doing and list them on the invoice. And if it's multiple items, if it's a lot of items, then we'll take them out of the invoice. So we won't even put them on the invoice at all. So we just bill for the
for what you did. So there's I like it. And then, no issues with anything on that. The homeowners are like, cool. Here's what it is. Here's your money. On to the next.
Now, the only thing with that is every once in a while we run into customers that they want to hire somebody to do everything. Like, they don't want to deal with multiple trades. They want to deal with one person, and they take care of everything. And that is that does simplify things for some customers, and I get it. However, it's just we don't specialize in that stuff. So, we've lost a few deals, not many, but we have lost a few deals over not doing everything. But I think in the bigger picture, when you look at how much more simpler it is for us to just do what we specialize in, it definitely outweighs the ones that we've missed over a customer wanting it done their way. Not that we're not working for our customers. Like, we bend over backwards for our customer. We do what we need to do for them. But if it don't line up with the way we do business, then I can't help you then.
Yep, I love that. That's success right there. Too many people take on too many things that they shouldn't be doing, and that's where a lot of companies get in a lot of trouble. So I respect that. We got 2 minutes left until we hit the 1 hour time on this one. So I want to say, number one, Matt, again, thank you for being here. I wanted to have you on Keeping It Real for a long time. I'm so glad you accepted the invite, and I've had a blast talking with you. If anybody that's seeing or listening to this down the road wants to connect with you, wants to follow your company, wants to see your progress as you go down the road, what are some of the ways that we can connect you with maybe someday someone's going to come up to you at IRE and say, Matt Collins, I've been watching your videos, buddy. And then you could have them on your podcast a couple years down the road. So how would that whole process get started with you? How would people be able to find and follow you and show support to your business?
Yeah, so I'm obviously on Facebook and Instagram, Matt Collins, Collins and Son Roofing. If you wanted to look us up, we're on Instagram as well. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what I should be saying here, but yeah, never had this opportunity before. So
right. I mean, but it's one of those things. I know you from Facebook, so I mean, I think that's the key thing for us. And anything else you'd like to say before we wrap this episode 103 of Keeping It Real?
Nothing more than, man, I appreciate your appreciate your invite. Appreciate you having me on. It's been a pleasure, and was very, very nervous about being on here, but you know, being uncomfortable, you can't grow unless you're uncomfortable. And so I couldn't turn it down, you know.
Yeah, and I think once you realize what this really is just me sitting at my desk in my office just BSing, that it's really not that intimidating at all. It's been a blast, and I thank you. This will be out, like I said, the week of the East Texas Growth Conference, which is not next week, but the following week on Tuesday. And Matt Collins, thank you for your time. Everybody, thank you for watching, keeping it real, and for your continued support. Thank you to my sponsor, Roofer, who makes all this possible for me. I appreciate you guys. And until next time,